everybody, Jane here. Sorry for the raspiness, I'm a little bit under the weather. Today I'm going to be reviewing Me Before You, and overall this is going to be a spoiler review. However, I'm going to start with the basic plot in case you don't know and give an overall rating for it. I am also going to be talking a little bit about the comparison between the book and the movie. So if you haven't seen the movie and haven't read the book, you might want to do that before watching this review if spoilers are going to bother you, but I'll tell you when I get into the spoilery part. So basically, the book is about this girl named Lou who is hired to care for this man who is quadriplegic named Will. And Will became quadriplegic after an accident. He was a pedestrian crossing the street and he was hit by a motorcycle. And at first, he's kind of tough to deal with and she doesn't really like the job, but her family is really poor and she's kind of exhausted her other working opportunities, and so she decides she has to stick it out, and they become close as the story continues. My overall rating for it is like a 3.5 to a 4 out of 5. There's some stuff I really love about it, but some stuff I really hate about it. I love Lou as a character. She is so fun. She's so spunky. Will is pretty cool. There's some great dialogue. But the ending, which I'll get into in the spoiler reviews, really was hard for me. And I knew it would be because I'd seen the movie, and like the movie, I just couldn't believe how it ended. So, this is a cool movie or a cool book and a cool movie, and it is very nice to see representation of a person who's a quadriplegic in a story, and really kind of get more of a feeling for them. So the reason I watched the movie to begin with is because I was researching characters and people who had either paraplegia or quadriplegia, because I am, my pen name, Emma, recently wrote a paraplegic character, and and I'm in the process of writing a second one. And then Jane, my normal name, I'm going to be writing one as well. My Emma books are sweet and clean, and because I wasn't sure how intimacy worked with someone who had a spinal cord injury, I'd been hesitant to write the romantic bedroom part, so I didn't want to write it under my Jane name, which tends to be more steamy. But I think I'm going to. I've done a lot of research, and I think eventually, soon, Jane's going to tackle the a quadriplegic or paraplegic character. So it was really cool to see the representation. And how I even started to watch the movie was I had reached out to some other writers and said, hey, I'm trying to research characters who are, in a wheelchair. Have you guys seen anything good? I'd already watched Highway to Heaven. There is a storyline where there's a quadriplegic lawyer, and that was really inspiring. And also in the TV show Private Practice, which is a spin-off of Grey's Anatomy, there is a doctor who's in a wheelchair. And I can't remember now if he's a paraplegic or quadriplegic, but so, I'd already seen a couple things. And so that's how I started with the movie. And then I really got angry at the movie, not gonna lie, and was complaining about it to one of my friends. And she said, well, read the book. The book's a little bit better. So, again, it's really mostly pretty good, but I didn't like the ending. And, please, if you liked it, let me know what you think, or if you also didn't like it, but maybe for a different reason, I would love to hear about that. So now I'm going to get into the spoiler part of the review. So at this point, if you don't want to hear the spoilers, go ahead and turn off the video. Okay, if you're still here, I'm assuming you want to hear spoilers. So one of my problems with the story is that throughout, Will has decided that he wants to die. And basically, Lou's been hired to teach him that he still has a quality of life and he can still have a good life, and kind of to protect him and make sure he doesn't try to hurt himself before he's supposed to go to a clinic in Switzerland where he can end his life. And I think for me, the thing that really upset me was she did show him that you can have this really great life, and he just basically says it's not enough. It doesn't matter that you love me. It doesn't matter that I could have a good life. This isn't the life I want, so I don't want a life at all. And I have really mixed feelings about that. I should say I'm pro like dying in a facility like what he did. If you're terminal, if you have a terminal illness, if you are going to die in the next 6 months or something, I can totally understand. But Will could have lived for years and years and waited until he got really legit sick. Like in the book, it's more detailed than in the movie, but he does have things like he has pneumonia and he has different things happen to him. But I just felt like he gave up a little earlier than I would have liked him to. I would have liked to really see him declining more and be like, okay, absolutely, I feel like you should. I feel like you are done. And I just didn't feel like he was done. The second part that really was hard for me is, I felt like his choice was very selfish. Lou loved him. And basically, not only did he say, I don't care that you love me, I'm still going to die, but I want you to be there when I do it, and as your final act of love for me. And I think it was great that Lou did it, even though it had to be very emotionally damaging. She lost a lot of things with her family, including her mom's respect, and it was just very upsetting to me to view that, and also, or to read that, I guess, because it was great that she was able to do that and have the strength, but I felt bad for what she was put through. I should say that these feelings, though, for me, may be kind of personal. When I was little, my grandfather committed suicide, and it really affected our family. It affected my mom's mental health. It affected my mental health a little bit. And, I understand that sometimes people are in such severe pain mentally or physically that's what they need to do, and it's a personal choice, and it would be selfish for us to say, no, you have to stay alive for me. But at the same time, it's really, really hard to lose someone you love to suicide. It's really hard to grow up without a grandfather because, he just couldn't handle his situation. So I do think that maybe I'm a little bit close to this book to have these opinions. But I felt like I wasn't okay with that. I wasn't okay with the ending. I didn't feel good about it. I didn't feel good even about him leaving everything he did to Lou and her being like, okay, I'm going off to Paris to live this life, or to try to, that he had taught her. And I get that the moral of the story is he came in, he changed her life, and she got to move forward. But it wasn't an ending I felt okay with. I was really angry at Will, both in the movie and in the book. Now, in the book, I think they did a better job than in the movie at explaining kind of what he was going through and why he had to make the decision he did. But I really couldn't get behind it. I couldn't be like, okay, yes, I definitely think you should go. Whereas, I've watched other shows that have dealt with kind of assisted suicide, and the person was at a place where I was like, no, I understand. You just need to go do that because you're obviously suffering and it's terrible. And I mean, in the book, Will is in pain and, he has had pneumonia, so there are issues. But I felt like he could have still lived for like 5 or 10 years and had a good quality of life with Lou. And, I don't think I would have made the same decision in his situation. And in the movie, I didn't think showed the alternatives well. In the book, they did. In the book, they had very, very many characters who kind of help Lou along the way, mostly who she meets online, who are quadriplegic also, who kind of tell her, you can have a great life despite this happening to you. So that was kind of my takeaway with it, is I didn't think Will made the right decision, and I would have liked I think I would have liked them to end up together and have a little bit more of a happily ever after, even if it's a happily for now, even if it's a, you know, I'm not going to make this decision right now, but know that if it gets worse, I might. You know, something, maybe that wouldn't have been enough of a resolution, but I definitely wasn't thrilled with the ending. Would I recommend reading the book, watching the movie? Maybe. If you are okay with that ending and you're prepared to kind of emotionally deal with that, then go for it. Because it's a really well written book overall. I really enjoyed a lot of the scenes. I enjoyed seeing Will's struggle and some of the stuff that happened to him that we don't always think about. I'm not disabled. I don't know anybody personally who is in a wheelchair or who, has mobility issues like that. So there's a lot of things that I didn't think about that would affect Will, like the way people talk to him or kind of the way people act around him. And I know it's going to make me more conscious of how I interact with people I may meet who, have any kind of physical limitations. So I do think, on an empathy standpoint, it's really a good read, and you can learn a lot and get some ideas about things that we don't necessarily pay attention to in society. But again, the suicide thing was a hard one and a bit much, even though I am generally, pro having facilities available for people who are terminal and wish to end their life. If you've got cancer and you've got 2 months left to live and you're in unbearable pain, I want you to have that option. But if you can live the next 10 years and have a lot of good in your life, I didn't feel like Will was severe enough that I was okay with that decision for him to make. Even though, granted, it's not my decision. And, they did try to justify it enough in the book to make you okay with it, but it just wasn't quite enough for me. So, again, that book is Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. And again, a 3.5 to a 4 rating for me. 3.5 out of 5 or a 4 out of 5. I'm kind of on the fence about it. If the ending had been different, if he just decided to stick it out, I probably would have been a pretty solid 4. But that wasn't the decision the writer made. And just so you know, when I write my book about my character who is probably paraplegic, we're going to get a happy ending where it's going to be a romance. There's going to be, some steamy bits, and everybody's going to live happily ever after and get married, because that's what I write. And I totally respect, Jojo Moyes for choosing to write differently, but this wasn't really a good fit for me as a book. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed my review. If you liked it, go ahead and hit the like. If you want more content, hit subscribe. Also, if you have an opinion about the book, if you've seen it or seen the movie and have any comments about it and want to share, feel free to leave a comment below. All right, guys, thanks. See you next time.